What is going on, fams? Monday Bully Live. You know we coming straight from both Cleveland and all the way up. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. We got Mike G, Mike
G.
Green, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, Donald Gaines. And you guys are located where, guys?
We're in Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas, bro. Yellow,
North
Texas.
North Texas.
That's it. Listen, today we're going to be talking about starting a kennel, man, and I'm going to put different scenarios on us, right? Different scenarios for people to, because there's people out there that are in different, they're either getting a boy, getting a female, they only got so much money, they're breeding out of an apartment, so on and so forth. So we're going to hit different scenarios so people can kind of understand where you guys are coming from. I breed XLs, you guys breed pockets. You guys have done things totally different than I have, because there's more than one way to skin the cat. No one is the sole owner of the truth. Real quick, let me just send a shout out to Echo. He just became a member once again with us. Kyle, go ahead and drive it like it's hot, bro.
Pues claro que sí, cabrón.
Pues claro que sí, cabrón. Every Monday at 8 p.m. We've changed Sunday Bully Live to Mondays. Make sure to jump in on here with us. We got Tradesman Exotics. He was the first one in. We got Adam Fields. Good evening, Bully fam. We got Rated XL. Smash that like button. Furman Broom, like always, giving us that support. I'm here in the background, man, all the way from Colorado. We got Kahiki Sakata from Hawaii. Caleb Weddle, what's going on, family? Love the addition of Mike and Donald. Listen, man, number love for you guys that like to get.
How you doing, Caleb?
Podcast. You gotta hit up Caleb Weddle's Tuesday night Bully Talk, man. Bully Talk. There's Caleb, and he's got a host of others. Miss Amanda Jean Nixon. Y'all gonna kill me because I don't remember all the names, but they're there, man. And every now and then I'll stop by. I'm sure Donald and Mike are gonna stop by as well. So make sure to support them, man. We got Maurice Humboldt all the way from Wisconsin. Larry Kohler. What's going on, y'all? We got Ghost Dog Kennels. What's up, Bully fam? Salute Raul and the chat. You got it, bro. We got Drippy Smooth 6'5" Kennels. What's up, QBN? We got Kahiki Sakata. I got 15 of us watching the live. Where's everyone at? That's what I'm talking about, man. Number love, man. They're gonna be coming. They're gonna be coming in because you definitely want to hear what these gentlemen have to say. I hope you want to hear what I got to say as far as what's been able to work for me. And you'll be able to deduce what you can do and what you can take away from both of us. I'm sorry, all three of us, and possibly all four of us, because Kyle's going to come in here too, and see what can actually work for you. We got Emilio. Let's get it. Emilio Garcia, Pinnacle Bully Kennels. Good evening, ladies and gents, all the way from North Carolina. Also, if you guys want to join the live, if you want to talk with Donald, with Mike, with myself, all you got to do is follow the link below and jump and hop on in here with us. Also, real quick, just so you know, our members have that little sign next to their name. For as little as $5 a month, guys, you could be a member. We're going to answer every member question before we get off. Wait, one other thing. Don't forget, Nuvet, New Joint Plus, the only multivitamin joint support that we use. Order code 513237. You can't buy in the stores. If you do auto ship, you get an additional 13% off. All right, man, let's get started, So, Donald, let me ask you this, man. I know you started Gaines Bullies originally. It was you. First pup that you acquired, was it a male or was it a female?
It was a female.
It was a female. Was that by choice or happenstance or?
And it really was happenstance. I got her for a pet. I knew nothing about showing or breeding, and I'd bred several other kinds of dogs, but my intention wasn't to start an empire with bullies. I got her, and man, she turned out to be beautiful. Got it from QBN Kennel in Oklahoma City, right near Oklahoma City, and then we went to a show or two, and I saw how she was stacking up, and I always thought, man, I think she'd do pretty well. But I just got her just Well, she was the last pup left in a litter. So
really?
I didn't have much of a choice. Last pup in the litter of 9.
Would you dare to say that she was the runt of the litter?
One of the smaller ones. I didn't see Run as a health difficulty or anything, but
okay,
she was a nice sized girl. But I saw several, even though she was the only pup left, there were several waiting to be home, and she was, even though others had not picked her, I would have picked her out of the 4 or 5 that I saw.
I love that you hit on something, man. I love the subtleties, man. I pick up on them like this. Those of you watching, you want to pick up on this stuff because it's going to educate you way more than you can ever imagine. He just mentioned, when I said, was she the run of the litter? He just said he didn't see any health difficulties. A lot of times, we as the buying public, and I include myself when I first started, I didn't know better. We will look at the smallest pup in the litter and refer to it as a runt. A runt is not necessarily the smallest pup of the litter because, right?
We froze up. I think.
Or is it because of genetics, right? If you have, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? See, Danny DeVito, that's a runt, right? He got all the genetic garbage. That's a runt. When you have a puppy who was not able to develop at the same speed as the others, and then in due time it catches up, it's no longer considered a runt. So I just want to make sure we throw that out there because a lot of times people will call things, oh, that's a runt because it's the smallest pup in the litter. There's a way you're able to define it. Do you guys know how to define a runt in a litter? I have my own technique. Do you have a particular technique where you're able to define a runt of the litter?
I've looked at many litters, and I always, if I see one that looks like it's maybe gonna have a difficult time making it, I say, I would just describe to Mike, I say, man, that's a real running one. I would also conversely say, man, I got 2 little small ones that look totally healthy and vibrant. So I'm using run as a derogatory, where I notice a lot of times people will not say a run as derogatory. Me, if I say I've got a run, he's fighting for survival.
Well, I'm going to look, and I love your explanation. I'm going to give you my little piece, and I hope people are listening. This is a real good thing I can share with them. Now, the way at least the way I figure to know if a dog is truly the runt is by their teeth, right? So by the time they're 3 weeks old, if that smallest pup, the teeth are as developed as the other dogs, that's not good. That means that is a runt. Yeah. He doesn't have a developmental. He's not behind the rest of the pups for developmental reasons. He's behind the rest of the pups due to genetic reasons. Look at the teeth. Now, if you look at the teeth at 3 weeks and you notice the teeth are just not there compared to the other pups, that's what you want. That means that puppy is a little bit behind developmentally, and in due time is going to be able to catch up. So I just wanted to share that. It's just very key and very subtle, like I said in the very beginning. And that's how I've been able to identify it, man. So when you started out, Donald, you got yourself a female. It was mostly because of happenstance. She didn't have any genetic issues going on, so she wasn't a runt. But she was one of the smallest pups out of the litter. Were you able ever to breed her?
Yes.
Okay, you were able to breed her.
That's the litter that Bad Betty was born out of.
Okay, so you consider that if you were to go back in time, do you consider that there were better females than that female, or do you feel that they were all pretty much within range of each other?
Out of that first litter?
Yeah, no, the litter that she came out of.
Yeah.
Oh, the litter that she came out of.
I would say she was as good as any that was going to turn into a pocket dog. You know, she was just a little shorter, but just already showing just the right amount of drive that I wanted for a puppy. She was 12 weeks old when I got her first time I saw her, and you know, I could just tell she was short bodied. She was everything a bully should be. Had a nice puppy bite, nice puppy feet. You know, I think that the reason that she was still there is because some of the other pups had better markings. You know, they had a dash of white kind of standing out, and she was nearly all blue. Just the tips of her toes is the only thing that was white. And I could tell after doing litter, she was the pup that was just going to get overlooked, just pass by. You know, but. Man, if you wanted a short, wide little one, you know, she was everything that you would ever want.
Okay, good deal. So let me turn my attention to Mike here for a second. So Mike, I know you joined Donald, you know, later on down the line. But Mike, you know, being that you've been in the breeding world now for a couple of years, several years actually. You've been in the show world now several years as well. You've been successful along with Donald. If you were starting your own kennel, and let's just take Donald out of the picture here just for a moment, right? What would your concept be? Would you be looking to get a male so that you can stud? Or would you be looking, say, for a female, even though you have to wait that extra time for them to be ready?
At the time I picked up Bad Betty, I was looking for a male. That's what I was looking for. I wasn't thinking about breeding. I was looking for a pet that fit our lifestyle. You know what I mean? And so I never was thinking about showing or breeding or any of that. Just wanted a good pet. I didn't even know what to look for. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with getting with a breeder. Like if I could do it over knowing what I know now, I would understand what the different breeds are and understand what the standard is. So, for example, if you want an extreme dog, you need to understand what an extreme dog look like. You know what those features are. If you want a pocket, you need to know what a pocket is. It is for every breed, classic, standard, or XL. You really need to know what that breed is, and then once you find that, I was blessed enough to to get a dog off of down where somebody can mentor. He can mentor me and teach me what to look for. You know, he knew the blood already. So if I could do it over, if somebody's starting from scratch, I will learn the whatever you like and learn that breed, and then get to a reputable breeder that's breeding the type of dog you like, and then be able to be mentored. You know what I mean? Don't take a lot of information from online and all these different opinions. Stay with that breed and get mentored.
Okay, you're hitting on two things that I definitely want us to hit on, because I feel, and please correct me if I'm mistook, right, or mistaken, better yet. I would dare to say that your relationship with Donald and the way things unfolded is a rarity in this community nowadays. I would dare to say that the majority of breeders that have found success are either cautious or a bit selfish, or a combination of both. Who knows? And when I mean success, when I first got into breeding, I thought success meant you had to produce grand champions. That was success in my mind. The community has taught me otherwise. The community has taught me that if your dogs are looked upon, if you're able to sell dogs, if you have marketing, if you have people that follow you, that's also another form of success. There's people that I've met online that have tremendous dogs and are unable to go to a dog show. Let me give you an example. I met somebody in Montana. He's got exceptional dogs up there. But when the wintertime rolls around, there's no ABKC shows up there. So he's pretty much SOL as far as showing is concerned. So he busts his tail in producing amazing dogs. My question to you is, if there is an absence of being able to find a mentor like you did, which I consider to be a rarity nowadays, What would be the next step that you would recommend for people to do? How do you mentor yourself? How do you get yourself up to speed with things?
That is a rarity. You said in the community, but we hadn't ran into that. You know what I mean? Like every like inboxing you. You know what I mean? When I first see QBN and diets and stuff, you didn't know who I was. I inboxed you and you well, I paid for a consultation. You know what I mean?
Oh, you did? You did?
Yeah. You don't remember that? That was
I
4
don't.
years ago. You know what I look like, man. But
No.
but the 30 minutes was great. But there's bigger kennels that you can pay for consultant. You know what I mean? And to get good information, or I say good information, but for me the shows. Going to the shows and you're gonna run into a lot of great people that's willing to help you. You know what I mean? So and that's what I've seen at the shows is and I've been to a bunch of them. I think 16 in 1 year. You know what I mean? But
Jesus. Okay.
yeah, but you're gonna run them and you're gonna know people who you can deal with and not deal with. But there's a lot of people gonna give you a lot of useful information that's willing to help you out. But I will pay for it. I hit inboxes. I'm all over that. And if they don't respond, that's cool. I go to the next person.
So look, we're on a show where hopefully we're able to provide, the community is going to look at us as our expertise. And I think it's fair because expertise comes from experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
My experience is different than yours. The way you guys came along, the way I came along. I can tell you when I was coming along, breeder, you had these big name breeders, and first of all, there wasn't many people putting content online, and the ones that were putting content, they would put content, but they would also bring an agenda. So it wasn't like an objective platform where, hey man, let's talk dogs. I'd rather start with a male with a female. It was nothing like that. I tried reaching out to several breeders, and the bottom line is, and I think it's fair to a certain extent, is if you want me to mentor you, you got to buy from me.
Yeah,
and to a certain extent, it's fair because I don't want you. You go running and buy from some other place and come running to me because you want information. That's where my idea came in of creating consultations, because not everybody was going to be able to buy a dog from me. Right. My litters would be sold out, and I still would have people, hey man, I like what you're doing. I want to be part of that movement and whatnot. So, I said, okay, well, let's do something. My time is valuable. Let's create a consultation where you come on and, for half hour, you ask me whatever you want to ask. I'm going to answer. Half hour is a lot. It's a long time to be able to communicate and get your questions answered, believe it or not, guys. And so I bring that up because, at the time, you just didn't have people that wanted to mentor you. You had breeders and you saw dogs that I thought I liked. And when I would contact these breeders, it was, first of all, the conversation is, we're sold out, or here's a deposit. This is how much it is. It was strictly business. It was never, hey man, I'm gonna take you under my wing. If you buy from me, like I tell my people when they buy from me, and I'm sure you guys do the same. When you buy from QBN, you not only bought a dog, you get a corner man, which is me, right? You come to me, hey man, I'm getting these 3 pups. They don't have to be QBN. I'm getting 1 pup. These are 3 pups that are up there. Which one do you feel is best? Well, let's take a look at your female. Well, she's got a longer back. That male that's got the shorter back may have slight east-west, but your girl is correct up front. If you're willing to compromise, that's probably the best way to go. And a lot of times, especially when we're new, we need to be able to hear that, because it's the possibility of that opinion of being able to see things from a point that you're not able to see at that moment, that we all need. And so I still think that being able to have a mentor in your corner is key, but
Yep.
I still think it's not the most common thing. We got King MIR TV. Starting a kennel, you need both a quality male and female. Do you guys agree with that comment? Do you feel that to start a breeding program, you need a male and female? Go ahead.
I personally don't. I don't. It just depends on what your objective is.
Yeah.
But I personally, I think, a female for me. I can create my own male off of that female.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly in that respect. So let's be clear. And I think we hit on this on the last show. I put more weight on females because I'm into genetics, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna front. It's what I like. And I know that there's a mitochondrial DNA out there that the male doesn't really put in, that the female does. And therefore, I feel that that's a little bit more that she's putting in. Not only that, I feel that when you have an amazing female off of an amazing male, you have what I consider to be breeding gold.
Yeah.
Breeding
That's right.
gold. That's not to say, please don't misquote or misunderstand me. And guys, you could disagree with me if you want to. This is your show as much as it's mine. Don't misquote me. There can be males that are breeding gold, guys. There can. I can tell you right now, I just came across a male. I bought 5 credits off of this male. He's walking around with a koi of 27. He's got a clear embark. He's got breed traits for days. Nobody knows him because unfortunately, marketing is part of the game nowadays. And I don't want to say game, it's part of the community, and nobody knows you. But I'm pretty sure people are going to get to know this guy pretty soon. I can tell you, I bought 5 stud credits. That should right there within itself tell you you're going to be seeing him going into my females. And when you do, and then the funny thing is this, guys, I don't know if it happens to you, but whenever I go after a male that I feel is a good stud, all of a sudden you start seeing other kennels, big kennels, bigger kennels than you can even begin to imagine, locking in that same stud. It's almost like like crabs in a bucket, man. They're breeding at the same time. If you're doing something, they got to emulate exactly what you're doing as well. Has that happened to you guys?
That's another thing where you said he would start with a good male and female, and just my opinion. I mean, you can start that way, but I would rather start with 2 females if I plan on breeding.
Yeah,
I start off with 2 females and find studs for them to tie them back up.
I agree. I think that when you start with a male and a female, you immediately bottleneck yourself.
Yeah.
Because that male, if you keep a female off of that male, only that male in your yard initially is going into her, so you're inbreeding. Now you got to open it up afterwards.
Right.
Whereas if you're starting out with 2 females, you can sit there and pick a stud from over here for one female and pick a stud over here from another, get the best of both worlds, put it together, go back to getting another stud. It just opens up your options a lot quicker, in my opinion. But not everyone can do that. There are some people that are breeding out of an apartment, and I've had people tell me, "Look, I would love to start with a female, but I live in an apartment, and I just want a male that I can stud." And that you got to understand that as well. We got Drippy Smooth asking, "Would you consider getting the best full-grown female for $10,000?" And she has everything you're looking for, and that already had a litter already. This is an exceptional question. Question. What do you guys think about this?
I agree. I mean, from what I know now, I would pay $10,000 for that female. If look at the puppies that she produced, if she producing what you want, you know what I mean, or see how that stud influence that breeding. I would do the research and see, does that female allow the stud to shine through, or is that female dominant? You know what I mean? And then from there, I would go from there. But I would purchase a grown female for $10K
Yeah, I think when say you were saying every other female you were looking at was 6, 8 weeks old and they were 3 to 5,000, you know, you're buying with that $10,000. You see what you get. That's a big advantage because you don't exactly know every time what that little puppy's going to turn into. You also know that she can get pregnant. She got pregnant in the past, and you're buying time because you're going to start a kennel and you start it with a puppy. I think that's a good way to start a kennel that way, and then you've bought you a little time now because your your puppy doesn't turn into what you call breeding material, then you've wasted 6 or 8 months. That you could have. You probably know that by the time your puppy is 6 months old, whether it's going to be breeding material. So you saved you a lot of time.
If I had to go back in time, and trust me, when I went back in time initially, I wanted a full-blown adult female, but it wasn't possible. I don't know about you guys in your yard, Donald. You can definitely jump in and elaborate. But I can tell you, as far as my yard is concerned, older females are super, super valuable, especially if they've already had a litter. I can tell you guys, $10,000, even though it is a lot of money, it definitely is. It's not something that truly entices me to want to let go of one of my older females. The one thing that would force me to let go an older female more than anything would be if, I run a dynamic kennel, and if I have a situation where I'm bringing in females that are about to mature and I got to bump them, then that's a different story within itself. One of the things you guys have to realize, those of you that are new and that are watching this, an adult female, even if you're selling pups, again, let's just use 5,000 as a threshold. And let's just say she's only producing 6 puppies, and say you keep one. That's still $25,000 that this female's producing off of that one litter. What would entice me to sell a dog that just is producing at $25,000 to sell her at 10? It's a very difficult decision. So I say that to say that if you're new and a breeder is selling you an adult female, I'm not saying that it can't happen, because it can. It has happened in the past, but you must be very careful. I would ask for definitely a health test from a veterinarian. I will definitely, I don't care how much it costs, I would do a pyometria test on that female. The last thing you want, or get the medical records from the female. The last thing you want is to get a female that's having issues producing pups. And this, unfortunately, that could be a reason as to why a breeder would want to move away from a mature female. A mature female is literally gold in the bully community, guys. So you definitely want to cross your T's and dot your I's. You want to make sure that the dog is health tested, that there's no pre-existing conditions coming on board before you get her. I could care less if she just dropped the litter with the best looking pups ever. You want to make sure that you get her health tested. You guys are back? Okay. I have a question here. Let's see if we can answer this from Echo. Depending on the time you want to, I guess, invest, if you're patient, get a male stud until you produce the female you want to keep. Keep her, inbreed to her, and start your program then. Yeah, you see, Echo has a difference of opinion than we do, guys. He believes to go ahead and stud your male out and then inbreed to your female, which there's nothing wrong. If you want to start out that way, you can. The only thing that I object is that you're immediately bottlenecked. And what I mean by that is those puppies that are going to be produced from a father-daughter breeding, now you have to outcross. Now you have no other choice but to outcross. Whereas if you started with a female, you would have outcrossed from the get, but it gives you options, especially if you have two females. Because then you say, I want this male from Gaines Bully. I want this male from QBN. Why is that? Well, because Gaines gives me the breed type and QBN is giving me the health side or the physical side or the athletic side. I want to bring it together. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if you're doing it the way Echo is saying, and again, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's not wrong. It's just that you're going to double up on your male's genes, good, bad, or indifferent, right off the bat. And then now you have to go outcross the female anyways. You know, it's just a matter of perception. We got Sid 1026 saying, do you feel this way from experience of having an excellent looking male that could not produce, or do you just females are more consistent in passing genetics? So he's asking me, do I feel this way because I've had males that don't produce a particular look, or is it because females are more consistent in passing genetics? My response to that is I've had males that have passed their look. I don't know if you've seen my boy Power. He passed away last year, unfortunately. He was passing on his look. Our boy 305 over here is passing on his look. Congo is passing on his look. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's because my males are not passing on their look. They are. It's just that I saw what my female Aruba did with outcrosses we had with Aftermath, for example. Aftermath is one of the better known Merles, XL Merles out there. Dude is Charlie Chaplin up front. I mean, let's call it for what it is. And this girl, you know, almost single-handedly corrected the entire litter. Not just that, she passed on, right, her mitochondrial DNA. And I see it in my dogs. I see their body type, their structure. I feel it's coming more from the female. When I first came on board into breeding, I was told by older breeders that the way it normally goes is the male will place the head and the female will place the body. I didn't comprehend what that meant exclusively at that time. With time, I have come to learn that to be mostly true. I would say 55 times out of 100, that is true. So it's more times than not that you're going to have your female place her body and the male place his head. Do you guys coincide with that opinion, or I mean, have you seen something different?
As thinking about what you said right there and never giving it a whole lot of thought,
right?
I think that yeah, we're seeing that quite often. I mean, the first litter we ever had, man, the male really threw the look. And when I say the look, wasn't necessarily his body type, but it was just when you look at a dog, you notice their face and their ear placement, their length of snout, you know, and so yeah, I would say that there's truth in that. I think I would say 6 out of 10, the female is dominant over the male, all things equal, like on an outcross. I think you're gonna get that female. I'd like to see her tight bred, but I'd like to see her nice and tight bred.
Correct. Right.
Because she's a tight bred female is gonna throw herself. You're up in the odds from 60% to maybe 70, 75, 80 with a tight bred female bred to a medium bred male.
Okay. I have a question for you guys from Kahiki Sakata, and he's all the way from Hawaii, by the way. He says, Gaines Bullies, have you guys sold a male or female in the past that you wish you haven't after seeing current videos or pictures of that dog? And I'm going to take that question as well, but I'm going to let Gaines answer it first. Have you guys had a scenario where you sold a puppy that you wish you hadn't sold because it's just looking better than whatever you kept?
I go through this all the time, and I'll say, man, let that get away. Never in a million years. I'm going to be proud of that puppy, whether I own it, Stephen Bayham owns it. I'm probably more happy for him, and I don't think that's the norm. But man, I mean, there's some reasons that I'll say, yeah, that is a really nice. I'm glad I produced it, but hopefully I get better at picking. You know, I go back, I look at videos. Why did he turn out so nice? Hopefully, just using it as a learning experience. But and if it's a good person and we talk to him and we were glad for him to have our puppy, man, I hope it wins nationals. You know?
Well, but I mean, you're much too kind, and I get that part. I get that part. We don't want to step on anyone's toes. I get that.
Right.
But as breeders, and I think you hit on something again, man. The subtleties. You guys got to listen. Every time Donald speaks, the subtleties are he's just dropping bombs. If you just listen to what he said he's got to get. We got to get better at picking pups. You see, a lot of times what people don't comprehend is as a breeder, you want to produce better. You can produce better all you want. If you don't know how to pick, if you don't know how to choose, you're going to basically let the cream of the crop leave your yard. If it leaves our yard, great, because it went into the hands of someone that believed enough in our blood that they paid for it. And that's fine. Right. But realistically, as a breeder, you want to keep the best pup out of the litter. I mean, undoubtedly, that's what we're all after.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a scenario where you had a perfect 10 leave, and you're like, man, I wish I would have kept that pup? It's happened to me. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I say on the down selection, the pups, like we could down select to, get down to 2 pups. And either way, what I mean, we the homes that we place them in, like we had no regrets. The only thing though, we had a dog, Baz's brother. Like when you got to compete against them dogs, and you compete against your own dogs, but you get knocked out by something you produce. That could be tough sometimes, man.
Yeah. For that reason, I can understand it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I let go of a male that I produced with Fireball and my girl Azu. And Azu's the one that started it all with us. And I let this boy go. And literally within 6 months, I was just I was shaking my head, but it wasn't for any bad reason. I mean, the guy paid for it, the whole 9 yards. It was great. If I could turn back the clock, I'm not even going to front, I would have kept the dog. I really would have. I felt he was probably Fireball's best production to date. But it happens. And what it taught me, and that's the point that I get from Gaines because of his subtleties and the way he throws things out there. What it taught me was that rather than picking my puppies at 8 weeks, we're going to pick puppies at 10. Right. And, somebody that's brand spanking new is going to be like, it's no big deal, man. 8 weeks and 10 weeks. But in reality, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because at 10 weeks, right, that extra 2 weeks, that's 20% of that puppy's life up to that point. And it's not just 20% of that puppy's life, it's 20% of that puppy's life in development. So it gives you a more clear snapshot of what that puppy's going to be at 10 weeks rather than at 8. Now, I may still make the mistake and choose not the top pup. That's fine. I'm willing to live with that. But what I was hitting myself over the head with was, why did I choose at 8 when I could have waited 2 more weeks? And more likely than not, when I saw the chest development, I would have definitely chosen that pup. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So, that's why I tell people all the time, in this platform, we're sharing our experience, right? Yeah. Everybody has different experiences. I can tell you pockets develop at a much faster rate than an XL will. Yeah. So, for all intents and purposes, for those of you breeding XLs, if you're picking puppies at 8 weeks, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, man. Because at least with pockets, you probably can get away with that maybe a little bit more because you got more breed type in the pocket class than you do in the XL class, undoubtedly. So yeah, I just wanted to share that real quick. We have another question, guys. We have Echo saying, personal I'd go female, find a stud to complement her and direction. I like to keep multiple pups and I'll cross each, then cross those pups amongst litters and so on and create a pick. Yeah, Echo, I get it, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned just a different way to skin the cat, but you're in agreement with us that best way to go. I mean, you have females, you have all these other options of males. The thing about keeping a male in my yard, guys, I want you to elaborate on this. Do you feel when you keep a male, you got to be 100% precise on what you're keeping? Because once you keep a male, you're pretty much stuck. The male is only there to impregnate. He doesn't produce puppies. He doesn't do any of that. Give me a little bit of your insight on that, man.
Man, the male, especially if you're in the show dog world, and man, Mike has hundreds of posts out there showing exactly what our dogs look from every angle, and still constantly we get in our inbox, I need pictures of the feed, I need the top line, I need, and all we can really say is there's all kinds of footage, we start trying to start a conversation, but man, that male is going to be picked over and picked over and picked over, where the female, every female doesn't champion in a day, and every female isn't meant to be in the show ring. But if you're going to keep your bully traits, sometimes you need a girthier, bigger boned female that might not be totally correct to maintain your level of structure. And the female, you can have good things out of a dog that's a female. I would stick with her, where that male, man, you keep a male, you fall in love with him, and he's easty westy, his bite goes bad, he's high reared, then you've got a pet, that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And real quick, let me just say this before I forget. If you guys noticed last week, these two gentlemen were stacking puppies up. You guys know I've been very transparent with my yard from the very beginning. I don't need anybody to come here and tell me what my yard lacks or what flaws are prevalent or anything like that, because as a breeder, I feel I need to know that way before you can even see it. In fact, there are times I'm overly objective in the sense that I will see things that you don't see. That's just, that's what being a breeder is about, in my personal opinion. If you cannot find faults within your own yard, then you definitely got some issues. I've been talking about my girl Aruba. Let me bring her on screen. This is her right here. And obviously our boy Fireball, he's been part of the backbone of our program. Nonetheless, you guys know I do breed XLs. They're a little bit taller. And because they're a little bit taller, whether some people want to admit it or not, in the XL class, Mastiffs have been brought in and other breeds. I'm not going to get into all that. That's not necessarily the point I wanted to make. The point I want to make is, for example, if you notice this particular boy right here, Congo, I feel that of the males I have, let me put 305 for example. 305 is a triple champion, and I'm not trying to take anything away from my boy 305, but I feel like Congo just has more breed type, and I call it like I see it, man. And therefore, we're trying to bring more breed type into my yard. If you see our upcoming breedings, my girl Cadabra. Well, I had set up Cadabra with this boy Shamrock, who I feel has tremendous breed type. Grand champion Shamrock. There's a reason he's a grand champion, and I'm bringing him to the best of my females to bring in that breed type. But last week's show, these gentlemen, I mean, they were stacking these pups up, man. And I seen this one female, and I said, man, look here, bro. Look here. I know you guys breed pockets, but I also know that when you breed pockets, every now and then you're going to push out a standard. You're going to push out a classic. It's just the nature of the beast, right? And so I got in contact with Mike Green and Donald Gaines, and I just wanted to announce real quick, and I don't have a facial picture thanks to Donald, who sent me a video of her pooping. But this is we went ahead and acquired this little girl. If you don't know who she is, you could go back to last week's video and you can see her stacking. And we went ahead and named her QBNK's Oreo. So pretty soon we're bringing on board our second pocket on board. And again, it's in her case, Mike, you're thinking, and Donald, we're thinking that more likely than not, she's not going to be a pocket due to her size that she's showing at this point. If she is a pocket, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But if she isn't a pocket and she is a standard, oh man, it's we're gonna make sure we make it hurt. You were gonna say something.
She looking more the standard. I think Betty threw the two females she got are 16 inches, over 16 inches. So
there you go.
I don't think she put nothing under a standard female.
No, and bred with Tugga, which is 17 and a half to 18 inches.
18 inches, yeah.
You know, we got a big pocket bred to kind of a small standard, heavy bone standard. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we didn't expect to get all pockets out of that.
And that would be, is that this boy right here?
No, that's
a true pocket.
Yeah,
that's Juggernaut. 14.
You're talking about this boy right here.
That boy right there.
Yeah. That's the daddy right there.
That's
Papa Oreo over here. All right.
Yeah.
Oreo look just like him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The head is identical.
And not just the head. Look at the neck on this little machine.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I just, man, I'm in love, man. And just so you guys know, quite possibly before the month is done, I'll probably be heading to Amarillo and interviewing you guys once again, man, to do the follow-up to that one kennel visit we did. Now it's been a couple of years back.
A couple of years ago.
How time flies. And definitely to go see my girl, man. See my girl Oreo, man. Pick her up.
Hey, congratulations.
Man. I was going to say congratulations.
Congratulations, man. Hey, welcome to the family.
Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys.
No, you have to deal with us because we're gonna be calling to check it up, man. We do it every dog we produce, we check on them.
Yeah.
Hey man, listen, you ain't gotta call me. You know I do live streams. Today we did a live stream. The dog. Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time contacting me because I'm busy. I'm busy doing consults, so I'm just gonna refer you to the video that we took that day, man. That's how we're gonna roll with it. So listen, we got Caleb Weddle. Here it is. Donald is sharing so much knowledge. If y'all pay attention, listen, guys, I'm telling you, it's in the subtleties. He's dropping the bombs. Some females are bred stock, but are needed to continue. Look a program. So I'm glad you brought this up, Caleb, man. I appreciate you, bro. Listen, and it's true. Donald just brought that up. And you guys know I've made a video and I've spoken about it. Where here at QBN, we identify dogs in three categories, right? We identify them either as show quality, breed quality, or pet quality. Now, pet quality, the way we identify it is having two or more flaws, major flaws, right? So if say you have a slight underbite, which is a major flaw, and say you have a gay tail, which is a minor flaw, I will still qualify you as a breed quality. Right? Because the only thing that we need to fix is that underbite, and with time we're going to fix that king tail. But if you're walking around like Charlie Chaplin, your rear is way higher than your shoulders, right? I'll automatically assign you as pet quality because those are two major flaws, and that dog is pretty much going to be sold for about $1,000. And we do that. We do that on purpose because the last thing I want to do, and guys, if you're a new breeder, you want to pay attention to this because a lot of you are money hungry. And please don't take this wrong. We live in a capitalistic society. I'm not against anybody making anything. This is a business, okay? With that being said, there are ethics that need to be followed. And the last thing you want to do is to sell a pet quality dog to somebody like, say, Donald over here, who goes to the show ring all the time, and you just swindled him out of $5,000. What do you think Donald is going to do when he gets to the show ring and people ask him where he got that dog from? He's going to tell the world. He's going to tell the world, and eventually that's going to catch up and it's going to hurt you. So the best thing to do, like I told you guys earlier, I identify my dog's lack of whatever or flaws or whatever from the very get. So by the time you're about to point at it, I've already seen it from a mile away, right? and that's just part of the process. This is how you're able to gain credibility within the community. People know that when you come, there's a 30% chance that, you're looking at a pup that's 10 weeks old. You're only looking at 70% of what that puppy can be. The other 30% could go north and it can go south. Right. No one has control over that. No one has control over that. But if at 10 weeks that puppy has an underbite, has a high rear and is east-west, you need to run the opposite direction. Or if you're looking for a puppy, for a pet quality puppy, there it is. That's a pet quality puppy, right? What's your guys' criteria for pet, breed, and show quality? I like to hear what you guys got to say.
Go ahead, Mike.
Pet breed. I'll say one thing. A lot of my deal is, say you purchase a dog and you're buying it by the blood that it carries, but if it don't look nothing like the blood, man, I run from that too.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. It doesn't have the look that you're trying to acquire.
Right. It don't have the look, man. It don't. So you're not gonna having that dog that carry that blood don't mean it's just gonna grab and throw a bunch of dogs that look like what you bought. You know what I mean? Like what you want. But I don't think we really evaluate dogs like count the amount of flaws on it. Like you said, a lot of it has to do once that pup leaves here. I mean, I can't even explain to you how we do. We pick all the puppies. We look at all the flaws, but we don't have a rating system on hey, the tail, this, that, or whatever. We just been lucky. The way we breed is we just been breeding consistent, and we had probably out of the breedings we had maybe a few, maybe 3 dogs out of all the puppies we didn't drop
that you feel are pet
that didn't turn out.
You just would. I would no way sell. We have a list of people and what they're wanting, and we really don't want the pet home people that say, I want a nice dog, I'll pay as much as $6,000 for a dog, but I don't want to show that dog. I would say you need to let me find you a dog that I would sell you for half that price, or maybe $1,500, and it would meet every need, because every pet home dog doesn't mean it doesn't look like a bully. It can still have major breed characteristics, for some reason it didn't. Maybe if it's not necessarily the high rear, it's kind of what you were talking about earlier, Ro, on the combination of things. If it's bad in 2 or 3 areas, then we're not gonna sell it as one of our top quality puppies.
The other thing is, we had people contact us and want us to guarantee a champion dog or a grand champion. Just trying to match like the 7 champions we got, or dual champions and 4 grand champions, that we produce. We can't guarantee that. You know what I mean? So I like a show dog. You create a show dog. You know what I mean? You get the best dog possible you can, but you're gonna have to train that dog, feed that dog. Get it to the shows. It's a lot that come with it besides having a show quality dog.
Genetically, nice.
You can have that there. But you're gonna have to create that show dog.
Yeah, I like the fact that you guys are bringing that up, man, because unfortunately, buyers in our community are under the pretense that if you're buying, say, from a grand champion, even from a grand champion line or whatever, that ultimately you're reducing the risk. Guys, listen to me. Listen to me closely. And I follow genetics. I mean, it's more of a passion than anything else. No one puts a gun in my head. In fact, you got to put a gun in my head for me to not want to get into it. There's 30% that's going to go north or south. I don't care what line it is. I don't care if it's an inbreeding, a line breeding. I don't care if the koi is 38. There can be a situation where a pup out of a particular line doesn't look like any one of the other pups, or even either one of his parents. In fact, if you inbreed, a lot of times, you can actually go back a generation, 2, maybe even 3, depending how the alleles line up, guys. Adam Fields is throwing a question out here. He says, let's talk about pockets and XL bloods. Hold on a second. Hollywood, you want to come on? All right, let me bring him on. What you got, Hollywood? Hollywood?
Hey, I was going to tell you, your internet's starting to get a little staticky and skipping around a little bit, so just be careful. It's looking a little better now, but
you're talking about mine, or you're talking about mine?
Yours.
Okay, I appreciate you, bro. All right, man. All right, so I'm gonna talk. I'm not gonna move around. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna come out here and do the Dougie because it's gonna skip and hop. So, but we got Adam Fields saying, let's talk about. Thank you, Hollywood. Let's talk about pockets and XL bully lines, and XL bloodlines. My bad. How else can you bring in breed type? Well, Adam. Let me just say this, and I mean, obviously this question is more geared at XLs, right? Let me just say this. I have seen two pockets be bred, and I've seen borderline small XLs to large standards come out of it. Is it something that happens all the time? No, but it happens, right? Not just that. I personally feel that if you want to bring breed type, you have to go smaller. I have always said classics and standards is the way to go. I still firmly believe that. I feel that if I was to breed, say, a pocket, like my girl Daisy Duke, for example, and I was to breed her to my tallest XL, which is looking more and more like my boy Macho, I'm probably going to get what I want between 1 and 2 puppies. And then I'm going to have some clown-looking pups. I'm going to have some pups with that high rear I was just talking about. I'm going to have some pups that are just going to look wonky because you're asking for a dog whose withers are already at 21 and a half inches to go into a female that's at, 14 and a half inches at withers. I mean, we're talking about a 7-inch difference. It's, the last thing you want is to produce a T-Rex, right? You ever seen them tall dudes, they marry them short girls or whatever, and they have the skinny tall kid with short little arms that look like little T-Rex? You don't want to, I don't want to create that scenario. So in order to mitigate that scenario, I luckily for me, I have a boy by the name of Fireball, right? And the beauty about this boy is his mama is a pocket and his daddy is an XL, right? So not just that, I also look at the IGF-1, which is the growth hormone on Embark. We've spoken about this, and he is an I. Now we know the N stands for large and I stands for intermediate or small. So Fireball is able to produce big, or small. He's kind of like a bridge dog. He's like somewhere in the middle. He's a classic, right? Would I breed, say, for example, the female I'm getting from Gaines to a dog, to an XL? Possibly. But more than likely, it would be to Congo. And the reason it would be to Congo is because Congo is only 20 and a half inches at withers. He is not my tallest XL. He's the widest XL, but he's not the tallest. So, yeah, I would do that. Would I breed a pocket to, say, Congo, say Daisy Duke at 14 and a half to my boy Congo? That's still 5.5 to 6 inches, man.
Oh,
I like to follow the 2-inch rule. If you want to stretch it, maybe 3. But five, I feel is a little bit much, man. That's just my take on it, man. What do you guys think?
Go
ahead.
You hit that on the money. You hit it on the money. I hadn't had no experience breeding XLs and pockets together.
Yeah.
But you hit it on the money as far as height wise. We try to stay within that 2-inch range.
Yeah, I see when you showed Congo a while ago, is that who you were saying you might breed to Oreo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And see, I see a lot of similarities in the build of Congo and her dad.
Right.
And
he's also
beautiful.
He's also my bulliest. He also carries the most breed type from my males, I feel. And so that's another reason. That's like icing on the cake as to why we would head in that direction. Now, if Congo didn't have the breed type I'm seeing here, and he needed some, I still would go ahead with that breeding. He's hitting somewhere around 16.5, 17 inches at withers. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it, man. I'll take a swing at it. But, when you're looking at a female like my girl Daisy Duke, that's 14.5 at withers. Like, no, I'm not about to do that. You're going to get a bunch of wonky dogs, man.
So we like big pockets that are close, like females are at close to that 16-inch range or 16 inches.
Right.
Tug of Mom is 16 inches. Betty's 15.75. You know what I mean? Betty's throwing all big dogs. Like she throw big dogs. So that puppy got bred to an 18-inch standard male. You know what I mean? And then I'm figuring she gonna be at least 16, but I'm thinking she looking more like 17-inch dogs. So I don't see. I think you'll be able to throw some big dogs out of there. That'd be real interesting.
Let me ask you guys this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you guys know I genetically test. Everyone and their sister that knows anything about what QBN stands for understands that I genetically test. I mean, it's what I do. Do you guys genetically test your dogs? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And her in particular, I'm pretty sure you've done a genetic test on Bad Betty.
I'm just trying to think. We got 8 boxes.
Yeah.
Back there. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you happen to recall what her IGF-1 is? Because if she's throwing big, I'm willing to bet that she's NI on the IGF-1.
I'd use David. What's his name? David Britton. Yeah, we ain't been through the DNA.
We're kind of like we have several people that have mentored us in different areas. And we provide them with the information that we have on them up to date. And then we try to learn a little bit at a time. That's the area I would say that we're weakest at.
Yeah.
Listen, and that's fair. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you want me to sit there with you and do a consult at no charge, you already know, man, you're part of the show. So if you need me to sit there with you and go over the entire genetic testing and whatnot, I'll be more than happy to do it. I can tell you already, whether you genetic test Oreo or not, as soon as she gets here, she's going to get genetically tested because it just makes your life so much easier as to how to line them up and how to get what it is that you're actually trying to get. Whether it's a double short muzzle gene because you're trying to get more breed type. In my opinion, in my yard, for example, I feel like I lack bulliness. I like breed type on the bully side. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about the more of a short muzzle gene. I don't need more rear musculature. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be there. I don't want to lose it either. But I'm trying to gain more of the bully look that, say, you automatically get with a pocket that you don't necessarily get with XLs.
Right.
I mean, right now, how many XLs are running around that are looking like pockets? There's not many, bro.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could count them with one hand. There's going to be several fingers left over.
Yeah, that's cool. I think the XLs have a tough time in the show ring because they're so slow developing. And, you get this little pocket, and she's 7 months old looking like
the water.
the breed
type alone. And not only that, the other thing that XLs are battling against is the length of the bones, guys. And the longer the bone, the stronger the soft tissue have to be. And this community in particular does not know how to take care of the soft tissue.
Right.
I mean, whether it's through nutrition or whatever the case may be, we don't necessarily understand or comprehend, because a lot of us are getting into breeding because we're seeing other people making money, or they sold us a bill of goods and we're impulsive. We're trying to jump in there. And what ends up happening is you have a pocket whose bone femur is only going to be yay long, and you have an XL whose femur is this long at 8 months, and those soft tissue can't keep up with it. And you don't have a prayer in hell. You just don't have a prayer in hell in the show ring, next to, say, a pocket of that same age.
I'm more on also too, just the results off of each breeding. Like, we know we're getting off the breeding. We know what our females do. We breed for consistency. We breed for confirmation, and we're seeing that all the way around. That's just how we breed. We may not have the size, not a 16-inch, 100-pound, muscled up male, with a 26, 27-inch head, but we gotta, yeah. The results are proven results.
Yeah, I always told Mike, man, my internals tell me to err on the side of a classic dog. Don't take too big a jumps towards adding musculature. But you got to remember, we're starting with girls that are in pretty good shape to start with. So we're not going crazy with what we're trying to get out of each litter. And if I got every dog in there turned out to be classic, I mean that's what we fell in love with, was a classic bully. So there's nothing shameful about that.
It's funny you say that, man, because I've gotten a lot of flack in my time. I mean, all breeders do. When you're successful, you're going to get flack. You're going to get haters. It's part of the territory. If you're not being hated on, you're not doing it right. If they're hating on you, is because they definitely are hurting seeing your success. That's just the bottom line. It's just the bottom line, right? A lot of times I've gotten a lot of flack because I've had dogs like this girl right here, off of her mama Aruba. Remember we were talking about?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, this is her at 12 months. She's almost like a twin of her mom. 305 also came from Aruba, right? This is why I put so much flack, so much stock into her. Our girl, Chanel, who lacks a lot of breed type in the head, by the way. I don't need anyone to tell me that. But body structure wise, and front, I mean, it's always there consistently.
There you go. Consistently there. Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for 7 years, look, this is another Aruba daughter. Look at the feet, bro. Like, how many kennels do you go to that got straight front feet? I mean, I'm willing to put our kennel up against anybody when it comes to that, because that's what the stock that I put on in the last 8 years. But now, after 8 years of getting that, right, being put in generation after generation, now we feel like, you know what, I want to bring in more of the bulk and the mass. We didn't jump exclusively into the bulk and mass from day one. I knew full well if you were going to jump on size, on just big, immediately you become one of many others, many others. This is what they keep trying to repeat. You got dogs that are showing, mastiff traits, and because they're big, they're being reproduced. Well, tell you what, man, when you bring that mastiff trait into your yard, it's going to be hard as hell for you to get rid of it. Just the bottom line. And, getting straight feet is going to be nearly impossible because mastiffs have really weak soft tissue. It comes with the territory. But if you do things in stages, right? And I feel like we've tried doing it in stages. I'm not saying we're perfect in any sense of the word. But if you do things in stages, you're going to start seeing pretty soon. Give me about another year and a half, two and a half years. when our girl like Daisy Duke, our girl like Ali, our newest up and comer, little Oreo over here from James Bully, when she's ready to go, you got to keep in mind, and this is the beauty of it, guys. I have males that will be going into these dogs that have straight feet.
Yeah.
I have males that have a perfect top line and perfect rear angulation. These are things I don't need to worry about. My boy Congo is probably my least of all my dogs. He's got slight east west. I make no bones about it. He's probably the worst off dog out of all of them. And I can tell you, he's probably one of the better Merles out there. I have no qualms in saying it as an XL.
Yeah.
And
Ro, what age do you feel pretty good that you can tell their feet?
Again, that's such a good question, Gaines. Donald. Here's the thing. As breeders at 10 weeks, we have to make a decision. And one of the things I usually look at is let me bring up a picture. Let me see if I got a puppy here. Okay. So look, I'll give you an example. This is Mocha when she was a puppy, right? I had already kept her. But one of the things I look at is the relation of the chest to shoulders, right? Relation of chest to shoulders. One of the things that's going to cause east-west the most in XLs is going to be a dog that has a lot of chest, but not enough shoulders. So a chapel, or you get an A-frame rather than an H-frame, where the paws are completely all the way down below the shoulders. What you're going to have is the paws are going to be further out than the shoulders are because the dog doesn't have enough shoulders. 9 times out of 10, a dog is not going to have enough shoulders because it's probably going to have more of a mastiff trait rather than a bully or bulldog trait. Okay. Because the bully or bulldog trait is more wider than he is taller, whereas the mastiff is going to be more taller than he is wider. And you can tell because when you look at the front legs, you're going to see a rectangle rather than a perfect square. Look at Fireball, for example. Fireball has a perfect H-frame. You have a perfect square. If you look at his chest and you go down to his paws, you got a perfect square. Whereas if you had a taller dog, what you're going to see is a rectangle. And that's what differs immediately when I see a dog that has a rectangle outside of the lanky stage, of course.
Right.
I immediately, whenever I see a rectangle, I'm thinking mastiff traits. Okay. So, we got to choose at 10. The reason I say all that is because between 8 and 10 weeks, you can see the development of the chest and the shoulders, right? So take a picture when the puppy's 6 weeks, take a picture when they're 6. I'm sorry, when they're 6, when they're 8, and when they're 10. Compare them, and you're going to see how that development is coming along. Yeah. As far as full blown, here's the thing about XLs that it's probably not the case with pockets, and that is XLs don't start to pop usually until they're about 18 months. That's when they're starting to pop.
You're right.
You're not really going to know if it's there or not until on a male, 24 to 30 months, female, her third heat is going to let you know if it's there or not. And that's with XLs. I know with pockets is a different story because you're dealing mostly with bulldog blood.
Yeah, but I can say that my experience with the older blood that I started the yard with a female, at least one of our best females, never has had puppies, but man, she was a completely different dog from 2.5 to 3 years old, and that was very surprising to me because and she probably hadn't gained 3 pounds, but man, everything just went right into place, and it was such slow blood.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned with females, your third heat. Every time a female, I don't know if it's the same with pockets. I'm pretty sure it is because I've kind of seen it with our girl Daisy Duke, who's a pocket as well. Every time our females have a heat, immediately a month after, you see a maturing process in their body. I'm not talking about just growth. I'm talking about getting wider, getting more mature every time they have a heat cycle. Right. By the time they get to the third, fourth heat cycle, that's what you see is what they're going to fully be by then.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I'm getting. I got Kyle coming in. Hold on. What you got, Kyle?
I just wanted to bring up the fact about feet as well could play a big role in their diet and environment as well. And this is a perfect opportunity to bring up why we use Nuvet. So,
Kyle, I'm starting to see some leadership qualities. Can you please interrupt for conversations more often?
Yeah.
Most definitely, guys. Real quick, let me just show you guys a graph. And please, Gaines, and when I say Gaines, I'm referring to both of you guys. Please feel free to elaborate and jump in. But here you go, guys. This is my boy Fireball. And this was Fireball when he was 12 weeks when I got him. Look at him at 15 weeks. But look at him at 20 weeks. At 20 weeks, I was feeding nothing but Victor. He was on no supplements. He was developing East-West. I realized then I had to add supplements into, his food, and I had to change the way I was feeding him, and I made the switch. Now, mind you, I know I'm talking to you about Nuvet, but at the time I wasn't aware Nuvet was a thing. So I started supplementing him on my own. However, the percentages of the multivitamins and joint support that I was giving him were not necessarily as accurate as Nuvet. Nonetheless, look at the improvement. Look at him at 1 year old. He was corrected at 2.5, and presently. And I can only tell you that when Nuvet, you probably would get faster results because amounts have already been, equaled out to what they needed to be. Keep in mind, our ordering code is 513237. You can only order this online, and you need an ordering code to get it. You cannot buy this in stores, guys. Many people have seen results with Nuvet. If you look at this boy on the left, you see his front left paw is pretty much east-west. And after 1 week on Nuvet, look at the improvement, guys. It is literally night and day. And the reason for it is mostly because kibble is processed and cooked. These are multivitamins and joint support that are actually cold pressed, and they're actually made at human food grade level. It's not meant for a human to take it, but if you did take it, it was processed for us to be able to take it. If you know anything about pet supplements, you will know that very rarely are they human food grade, and that makes a world of difference. The pricing on this regular price is $55.50 with auto ship. You get it at $47.15. You could actually take a picture of this QR code if you're watching us on TV and place an order. And you could also do the same thing for New Joint DS, and that's the blue bottle that goes along with. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put that picture up. And it's the blue bottle that goes along with Nuvet, New Joint DS, and we'll just put it down here. And that's the one that makes the magic happen. So the multivitamin is that green bottle that helps you absorb the majority of what that blue bottle is about to drop on you. And they both go hand in hand. The results have been tremendous.
You got an older video showing that you were using a lot of those ingredients before Nuvet even come on board, and you were using the vitamin C and crushing up and doing different things.
Yes.
So if they want to go back and see how it's progressed, I mean, you were using the same ingredients, just not the right amounts.
Not the right amounts, because I was in a dark room kicking. That's all I was doing. We got Derek Hall asking, how do you judge bone in a puppy? Gaines, you want to answer that? How do you judge bone in a pup?
I constantly just feeling, and I try to feel the difference in one pup to the other, and then I have a store of experience in my head, and now just through many pups, feeling them, this is bone. You can tell when you grab somebody's wrist, do they have a lot of bone, or are they kind of skinny wristed? And you do that with the puppies too, and then you notice then at the end of all that, if you think they have bone, then you look at their parents, and if they have bone, you're probably right.
Hey, Put the thumb next to the day 4, man, and see what you got, man.
That's it.
Your finger around.
I'm sure after seeing and testing these puppies, watching them get older, you're starting to get that experience of gaining and judgment from when they were young to getting older.
Then we compare
exactly.
Then we compare litter to litter, because you always want to improve, right?
Yes.
So so we look at the breedings and we look from litter to litter, like Donald said, we got pictures and video, from them being puppies, the older dogs, being well. So
when I started this before Mike, I decided I was going to be an expert on my dogs. So I researched, I went back, I found the owner of the grandparents. I would ask them different traits about the dog. What were they like? How many times had they been bred? And I try to look to a bigger male. What did she produce?
That's Coltrane.
It's Coltrane right there.
That's Baz Reeves.
I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. I just wanted to show off your dogs while you were speaking.
But yeah.
Let me ask: is this Bad Betty as well?
No. Oh.
Yes. That's Bad Betty.
That's what I thought.
Yep, Bad Betty.
Bad Betty, and then the previous picture was her son.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys. I like to be upfront, and I like to call a spade a spade. If you were to look at horses, right? There's a difference between a plow horse and a racehorse.
There you go.
Just that simple.
Right.
If your dog is looking more like a racehorse, you're probably lacking some bone. Yeah. If your horse is looking more like a Clydesdale, you're pretty good. You're pretty set. It's really that simple, but it is more of an eye test more than anything. And we got Derek Hall over here cracking up. He says he lost it, man. So listen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But before we wrap it up, on our outro, I want each one of us to give the best advice. All right, for somebody starting out in a kennel, starting with you, Hollywood.
Oh Lord, put me on the spot like that.
That's it.
I would say do your research before you decide to buy anything. Know where you're getting your breed stock from. Come on the channel, watch some videos, learn a little bit. I've always told people if you start at the beginning and then you watch all the way through, you'll have a college degree by the end. So just do your research. That's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't do is they jump into something that they don't know very much about.
I couldn't agree with you more. Games.
Man, I think
you probably will say the same thing.
I was gonna say when you start, your program may look ugly in the fact that your whelping box doesn't have your logo on it, and it doesn't have to look pretty, but it can't be nasty. You see, there's a big difference there. Mm-hmm. And get a little kid swimming pool, get clean towels, just make it all good. You wouldn't put your baby in a bunch of filth and nastiness. So it may not look pretty, and we've tried to doll things up a little bit with every litter. We set some of the money back, and we, to this point, put nearly all our money that we've made into better. But it's not just to look pretty. But just make sure you start out with something that's effective.
Don't let money be your motivation.
Right.
Love your pet.
Love
your pet.
You just took what I was about to say. You just ruined it. Oh, man. Listen, the best advice I could give to somebody coming on board is if you're coming here and it's solely about the money, the biggest reason you're going to fail is because of money. Because money has a way of making you prioritize money over breeder decisions. You're going to start keeping dogs that may not be the best dog, but they're Merle and they're more expensive. And that's how people run into trouble. Either way, guys, I will tell you, it's been Raul from the Q, catching you on the next one.